Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. I hope you are having a great day. Let's start with today's stories. Am I the idiot for not telling my soon-to-be ex-husband that the girl that he left me for has already cheated on him? So, here's a little backstory. My ex left me for his best friend last year, around April, after nearly 15 years together and 11 years of marriage. In the beginning was the typical story of, we've grown apart and he didn't want to move to the state that I moved to start getting our new life together, and ready for when he was ready to move. He initially said it was because he didn't want to leave his parents behind, with his dad being terminally ill with prostate cancer, and his mom wouldn't want to move after he passed. But I immediately knew it was his female best friend who was pushing for this, because of some red flag conversations we had been having months before, when he visited me in the state I moved to in January. I caught him lying to her about where he was, and asked him why she didn't know that he was here visiting me, because we were all friends at the time. He told me that it was because she was judgy, and didn't want to deal with her being snarky towards him. I asked why would she be judgy when she knows that we are working on our marriage long distance, while we wait for the perfect house to come up, and us to get everything ready after we had sold our home in California the summer before. He just said she would judge regardless, and then was very careful of how his phone faced afterwards. I had also caught her making comments on his social media posts about my dog and him being her big boys, and a few other remarks and actions that made me and her, at the time boyfriend, uncomfortable. She is also a serial cheater, by the way. Well, fast forward to early April, and he calls me one morning and says that he doesn't want to move and thinks we should separate. I asked him if it was because of her. He said no, and that he had been seeing a therapist and wasn't happy anymore with me, and didn't think he loved me anymore, but needed time to figure it out. Now here's the thing. We talked on the phone every night, from the moment he got off of work, till we would fall asleep on the phone together, and I would wake him up in the morning when I had to go into work. There was literally no time for these 2-hour therapy sessions that he was supposedly doing over the phone. Fast forward another month of almost zero contact, and he says he wants a divorce. I bring up the fact that his best friend is not a marriage counselor, and has been making several posts hinting that there was already a relationship between them. He said my perception wasn't his problem and he was done. Not even a month later, and she announces they're in a relationship, after both blocked me to keep their secrets. Another month later and they're engaged. Mind you, in the photo that was posted on my birthday, which was during the time that we weren't talking, while he decided he was already wearing a black wedding band, which was her toxic claim on him. Now to the cheater cheating on the cheater, lol. A friend of mine reached out to me nearly a year later, asking who my ex was dating. I told him the story and he said that he knew her. I asked him how, because he knows a lot of people in our old hometown. He said that she was hooking up with a buddy of his. Apparently, back in January or February of this year, she showed up to a couple of events or parties that my friend was at, and was glued to his bud, and even went to hook up during one of the parties with his friend. My ex and this girl have been together since at least April of last year, and she was hooking up with some dude just a few months ago. So, while this news actually gives me a lot of satisfaction, because the serial cheater finally got a dose of his own toxic medicine, I don't know if I want to tell him or not. Part of me wants to just let the karma roll out in its own time. The other part of me wants to tell him to ask her about some dude named Jay from Idaho, and to make sure he pays attention to her face dropping, because I have all of the receipts at this point. I unfortunately have to see him sometime soon to finalize our divorce, but do I just let it ride and let him find out on his own? More context about our marriage is that I stayed through multiple affairs of his and years of abuse and manipulation, and talking everything but physical abuse. He blames me for ruining our marriage, because in 2020 I wanted a separation/divorce, because I had found out about yet another affair, and I was tired of the constant neglect and abuse. In the end, we ended up staying together, because I thought he was the person I wanted to grow old with, and hadn't come to the realization yet that I was being gaslit and manipulated like always. So, we stopped the divorce and stayed together, even through me moving to another state to help my parents get their new property set up. So, am I the idiot for not wanting to tell him and letting karma unfold all on its own? No, not the idiot at all. Let karma eat him alive. And her. But it is quite possible that he already knows, or at least suspects that she has affairs. As you said, they are both serial cheaters, so I don't think either he or she are faithful in their relationship. Unless he has told you himself this or to someone you know. So, although I understand that it would be a huge satisfaction to reveal to him that she cheated on him, it may not have the reaction that you expect. Oh, and even if he thinks she is faithful, based on the things you said, on how she has manipulated him, it is quite possible that she will do the same thing in this situation, and probably turn you into the bad guy here. Honestly, I think you've already wasted too much time and energy on these horrible people in your lifetime. Your divorce will be finalized soon and you will no longer have any connection with these two, thank God. And I'm sorry for everything you went through with your ex. Thank goodness you realized how toxic, manipulative and a bad person he is, as well as an effing cheater. Good luck, OP, your life will be much lighter without this dead weight in your life. Yeah, not the idiot. Let the divorce be finalized. Then just get the Jiffy Pop ready. Personally, I'd wait until the judge officially granted the divorce and then, as I left the courtroom, I'd look at him and say, oh, you might want to ask, other woman, how long she's been effing, a fair partner. From what I hear, he's been stepping up to fulfill all her needs since you can't. Then I'd just walk away. But I'm a petty witch, so. OP, don't tell him, since he will just blame you as the person who brings him the news. The best thing you can do is wash your hands of him, and not talk to him. There is no juicy satisfaction or exciting drama with this response, but this is the answer you need to heed. Get your revenge by truly purging him from your life, and go and live a happy, fulfilling life without him. Leave him and his sad, pathetic life in your rear-view mirror. Not the idiot. They are no longer your circus or your monkeys. Cut yourself off from the drama and walk away free. They can continue their toxic nonsense. They clearly deserve each other. Best of luck in your new jerk-free life. And what do you guys think of this situation? What would you do if you were OP? Would you say something to the ex, or would you let him discover it for himself? Don't forget to leave your comments down below. Oh, are you enjoying the video so far? If so, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel and turn on the notifications to know when a new video is out. This helps the channel, so I really appreciate it. Now let's go to the next story. Am I the idiot for telling my uncle that I would never be a stepmom after seeing how his daughter treated my aunt? When I, 20s, female, was 7 years old, I lost my parents and was sent to live with my bio-aunt and her husband, uncle, and his daughter, Kylie. Kylie was 10 when I moved in. She lost her mom when she was 5 or 6, and my aunt had been married to my uncle for a little over a year. So it was a really difficult time for her. But I remember thinking, Kylie might get what it was like, a little. But she was very clear, from day one, we were not family. One thing that always stuck out to me was how Kylie really resented and hated my aunt. My aunt couldn't ask Kylie to do anything without being yelled at. She couldn't do anything nice for her without getting glared at. She'd accuse her of disrespecting her mom by trying to play mom. She'd accuse her of doing stuff that she had no right to do. She'd tell my aunt to know her place. My aunt always understood Kylie was grieving, and she pushed my uncle to make sure Kylie got enough time with him, but was also able to talk to him. They had her in therapy as well. My aunt told me once, when I got upset on her behalf, that some people, kids or adults, can find it hard to see their living parent move on and have a new relationship after they lose the other parent, and Kylie was struggling. A few months ago, I saw Kylie for the first time in 12 years, and she could not hide her still existing hatred for my aunt. The way she looked at her. I even heard her tell my uncle that my aunt was nothing to her, and all she did was attempt to steal a dead woman's entire family. It made me realize just how strong that resentment can be. I also know from my uncle's sister that Kylie is still furious. My aunt ever tried to ask her to do anything, or issued any kind of consequence for her behavior, when she was a kid. The experience of living with them always made me say, I didn't see myself ever wanting to date and marry someone with kids. But having seen her hatred for my aunt at 30, knowing she still resents my aunt for even daring to ask her to do something in their home, it made me realize that while it can work, and some people have amazing blended families, it's not for me. A few days ago, I came back home for Christmas, staying until the 28th. My uncle was talking about my boyfriend, and then he asked me about this guy at work, who asked me out a couple of times, and why I never gave him a chance, since I thought he was cute, etc. I told him it just wouldn't work, but he kept pushing, and I told him it was because he had kids. He told me that was a strange reason, when I want kids, and I said yeah, but after seeing how Kylie treated my aunt, I have decided I would never be a stepmom. My uncle was pissy about it, and told me I can't swear off men with kids for that reason, and he said divorced and ed parents deserve to find happiness again. I said they do, and I would never say they shouldn't have that. But I do not want to be that for them. He said it was rude for me to blame Kylie. Am I the idiot? OP has offered the following explanation for why they think they might be the a-hole. I told my uncle I would never be a stepmom after seeing how his daughter treated my aunt growing up. Why this might make me an a-hole is it is appointing a lot of blame and maybe being harsh to not just Kylie, but to my uncle as well. After all, he lost his first wife and just wanted to find love, and he could take it as me saying people shouldn't move on / find love again. Okay, it's obvious that Kylie has issues, since to this day she sees your aunt as an enemy, instead of your uncle's wife. Looks like the therapy didn't work at all. I understand that at the time, she didn't want your aunt as her new mom or something like that, when she was still grieving with the loss of her mother. But decades later, for Kylie to still have this hatred towards her is weird and childish. I know she is not obligated to have a relationship with your aunt, but this resentment isn't normal. Does she think her dad and your aunt had an affair and cheated on her mom when she was still alive? Because as I said, this hatred is not normal. Also, when he says it was rude for you to blame Kylie, well, but it was because of Kylie's bad behavior with your aunt that you ended up making this decision for your life. The thing is that, I think your uncle already feels a lot of guilt about the way his daughter treats his wife, and when you revealed your decision to him, it was as if this was one more thing to add to the pile, and he didn't want another thing to be blamed for. But you're not the idiot OP, you were just being honest. And I'm sorry that your aunt has to deal with Kylie's bitterness to this day. She lost her mom when she was 5 or 6, and my aunt had been married to my uncle for a little over a year. So, your aunt and uncle were married for a year when her mom died, or were married for a year when you moved in? Married for a year when I moved in. It was not rude to blame Kylie. It was honest. Not the idiot, you are entitled to restrict your dating pool however you see fit. Not the idiot, he demanded the truth and then got butt hurt, because he didn't like the truth. Not your problem. Not the idiot. I don't understand why your aunt has put up with that BS for so long. She deserves better than to have to walk on eggshells for having committed the egregious crime of marrying a guy with a kid. Not the idiot. This is absolutely a boundary you're allowed to have for yourself. And while I see your uncle's point, he shouldn't get pissy with you because you feel differently than he does. You've seen firsthand how this situation folds, and you're allowed to make the decision that's best for you. And what did you guys think of this situation? Do you think her decision was too harsh, or do you agree with her? Do you think you would make the same decision as her? Don't forget to leave your comments down below. And that's it for today, everyone. I hope you enjoyed. See you next time.